Hello, my name is Ed Stover, and I'm here today to give you a big talk. But before I do that, I'm gonna do a small talk. So let me start over. Hello, my friends. Tonight is the night. You all know what tonight means. We've spent the last year preparing for it. We've toiled for hours in the workshop. We've prepared our rides. And most importantly, we've prepared for everything. Tonight is the night that we spread our gifts to the world. Tonight, we ride! Now, who has any guess what that was about? Santa Claus. What? That is...
What?
Oh dear, that is not the right slide. Santa Claus. Yes. Congratulations. You hit it right on the nose. So, now, Santa, most people don't normally think like this because I'm a special person. But Santa's a wonderful leader. He's inspiring, he's dedicated, and he's very, very committed. Now, when I started my TED Talk, I did mine on leadership and how leaders can improve themselves to be better. And I had to come up with an example. A lot of people suggested, hey, why don't you do some good president? Or why don't you do Hitler? Thanks, Evan. But I decided on Santa Claus. Why? Well, because he embodies the three main principles that I think really a good leader should have. He's dedicated. He provides all of his workers with a purpose. He gives them a reason to work for him. He is dedicated, and he wouldn't ask anyone to do something that he hasn't already done himself. And, most importantly, he motivates them in all the right ways. So, let's just go into the first point. How many people, who thinks they know why Santa and the elves spend all year making toys and then travel around the globe delivering them? Well, it's to bring joy. And so that's their mission statement. That's the reason they do it. And almost all companies have mission statements. And their mission statements are usually one or two sentences that describes what they want to do with their company. But like all the big successful companies like Apple and Google, they all have really powerful and moving mission statements. For example, Google, that's not the right one. Google's is to organize the world's information and to make it universally accessible and useful to all. There should be a to all there. And, well, that's their basis, and they've gone so far beyond that, but that's really at the core of everything that they do. Starbucks. Now, this is going to seem a little ambitious for a coffee company, but Starbucks is to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. Seems a little airy, but when you think about it, they've kind of achieved that. Their impact is throughout the globe. They have stores everywhere. And then Microsoft. Microsoft is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And really, who here uses Word has used Word or any other Microsoft product? All of you. So they've really done that. And so. But what does a mission statement really do? It's just two sentences. I mean, how much of a difference can it make? Well, a professor named Brett Steenbarger, it's a little bit of a weird name. Well, he was consulting for a company, and they had wonderful staff, they had a great plan, and their product was excellent. And yet, their company was still failing. And so he thought, why is this? And well, it turns out it's because they didn't have a mission statement. And so he theorized that a mission statement is important in sustaining resilience and persistence towards goals. Now, if you think about it, that makes a lot of sense. It gives you something to work towards. But Santa hits that right on the nose. But what about being an example? Does Santa ever do that? Well, yeah. I mean, he's the biggest example of Christmas ever. He's a big, fat, jolly man. And he's always happy and spreading Christmas cheer. And that's what leaders should do. Leaders should be an example to their people. They should lead by example. They should be dedicated. They should be committed. And if they're going to be those things, then they're going to ask their workers to be the same. For example, some executives would learn Spanish so that they could better understand their workers. And others would, right after catching a late night flight, they would come into work and they would still be cheery and excited and encourage productivity around the workplace. And that's what leaders do. They inspire their workers to do what they need to, and they give them an example of what they should be. And then finally, this brings me to my most important point, in my opinion, is motivation. Now, how many people, who here works, has a job? How many times has your boss yelled at you to tell you to do something? How many times have they said, hey, if you do this, I'll give you a bonus, or something like that? That's probably not going to be many of you here. But that really, maybe that's not the best way to do it. Santa, most people, when you think of how Santa pays his elves, he gives them candy or cookies. But if you think about it, he really gives them a house, a place to live. He gives them food. And I mean, you're enjoying yourself, so what more could you really want? And a lot of other companies do this. There's the companies that say, hey, if you do this, you get a big, giant bonus. Or some personality, hey, if you do really well in this show, you'll get your own spin-off. Wouldn't you want that? Right? Oh, there was a professor named Sam Glucksberg, and he did an experiment with the candle problem. This is the candle problem. You have a box of matches, a box of tacks, and you have a candle. And so this experiment, the goal is to try and hang the candle up on the wall without allowing wax to drip onto the floor. Now, Mr. Glucksberg, he did an experiment, and so he had two different groups. He had one group, this half of the room, and he told them, all right, we're going to time you to see how fast you can solve it. But we're only timing you to establish some norms. You guys are going to be our control group, okay? Sound good? So, yeah. But this group, he told, hey, if you do really well, I'm going to give you a lot of money. Does that sound good? So, he did this, and this is the solution. And and who thinks that this incentivized group wins? Anyone? Well, actually, I'm afraid you're wrong. This group won. And so he tried this again, a little bit confused, except this time he used the candle problem for dummies. And so this time, the tacks are out of the box, and you can clearly see that the box is supposed to be used to hold the candle. And he did the exact same thing. This group, he told, hey, you're just norms. You're going to get money if you do really well. However, this time, the incentivized group, they won thoroughly. And so he was a little bit confused by this. But then he realized maybe, and this is something I agree with, that a reward, it narrows your focus and it really refines what you're searching for. And for a problem like this, where you have clearly defined rules and an end goal that you can see in sight, that works. But for something more complex, with challenging solutions, the original candle problem, that doesn't really work. And so if you give them something beyond, so you have to motivate them with something other than just a large amount of money or excessive sums. And so next time you see a movie, it's Christmas season, so we're going to see a lot of Christmas movies. Next time you see a movie with jolly old Saint Nick, just think that he's really a great example of leadership. Yeah, thank you. Oh my, I said yeah, thank you. Thank you. Oh dear.